Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, find the first mistake in simplifying the following expression. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for is a what? We're looking for a first mistake, right? Okay, and of course, that means we're going to need to work at the problem to see where is it that they got it wrong. Is that right? So let's start. Well, first of all, I do see parentheses on the first section of the problem, but there's no coefficient in the front. There's nothing, right? Therefore, I can just go ahead and what? And rewrite it. So we're going to write it down here. Now, remember, whenever you have no coefficient, you can think about A1. But what happens when you multiply by a 1? A positive 1. Everything stays the same. Very good. So we can write down the 1 if you wish. But basically nothing changed from inside the parentheses, right? Now, I move on to the next part of the problem and I see a plus and a parenthesis. That means that there's another 1, imaginary 1, outside. And if I have a positive 1 outside, everything inside the parentheses is going to stay exactly the same. Exactly, because when you multiply by a 1, you get the same answer. Therefore, I'm going to continue writing the rest of my second parentheses. Now, here's where it comes the problem. Notice how on the last part of the problem, there is a 1 outside. But now, this is like having a what? A negative 1 multiplying everything inside the parentheses. Okay? So be careful with that. Let me write it down up here because I want you to see the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply negative 1 times a negative 5, x. Is that right? And negative times a negative gives me a positive 5x. Then I'm going to multiply negative 1 times a negative 6. Is that right? And that gives me a positive 6. Okay? So that's the way that my first step would look like. So let's look at step 1, which is up here. And check everything. And everything looks exactly the same, so this is correct. Yep. Okay, so let's go to step 2. So what would you do? Don't worry about what they did. What would you do next, right? So what I think we need to do next is combine like terms. Combining like terms means that I'm going to check on my first term, and it has x squared or x to the second power. Can you find any other term that has x to the second power? It's right here. Is that right? Okay, now I'm going to go on to the next one, that 3x, which is a negative 3x. Do you have anything that has an x by itself? Remember, no x squared, no nothing, just x by itself. And we see it right here. Anything else with x, just like that, term x, right here. Very good. So guess what? Those are the ones that you need to combine. Very good. Notice how I am highlighting also the sign right before them, because that sign makes a difference on whether it's going to be a positive or a negative. And of course, the last one will be my constants, right? And I'm not gonna highlight them. Why? Because I want to make sure that you can see this over here. This is a negative 8. A positive 4 and a positive 6, and those will be combined together. Is that right? So if I combine those, and we're not gonna just add them up or subtract, we're gonna kind of put them together. Okay, so this will be 2x squared is the green one, and the other one that has the green is negative 4x squared. Is that right? Okay, very good. What about the yellow ones? Well, I will have what? Negative 3x. And then what? Plus 5x plus 5x. And the last one will be minus 8 plus 4 plus 6. I think that's what we would do, right? Just kind of rewrite them, but putting them together as they have the same term, right? Or the same base. So let's look at step 2. Why do they have parentheses? Basically, they have parentheses to enclose the ones that are the same. Is that right? Look at the 2 green ones over here. That'll be the first parenthesis, right? What will be the second parenthesis? Negative 3x plus 5x is right here. This is my second parenthesis, guys. In the last parenthesis, it's right from here to here. So basically, they're just using parentheses to enclose the like terms. Is that right? Okay, so step 2 then, it's also what? Correct. Very good. Okay, so what will you do next? Well, we actually need to combine them, right? So a positive 2 and a negative 4 gives me a negative 2x squared, right? And then if I combine this one, negative 3 plus a 5 plus a 5, it's 5 and 5 is a 10, right? And then this will be a negative 3. So what do I get from a negative 3 plus a positive 10? I get a positive 7x. And on the last one, I'm combining the one that are positives, right? 6 plus 4 is 10. And I have a negative 8 first. And since they're different signs, I subtract, and that gives me a positive 2. So look at step 3. What's wrong with step 3? Well, this one is correct, right? And what's wrong is the 7x. They have a negative 2x and a positive 5x. This, it's wrong. So step 3 is actually the one where there's something wrong. Very good. Okay, so this is the wrong step. Okay, very good.